Okay. Transitioning for me, I think I did that about in 1955. Had to be about 8 or 9. I'm not sure the age, but I've always been gay. But I started realizing that I was a girl at the age of 7, 8, and I kept up with that in my life because I knew I was a girl. You know, you couldn't tell me nothing else. And as I got older, then I started gradually changing. I always had a high-pitched voice, which I don't think is high-pitched now. And my mother was understanding, and she was a single mom when she had me, but later on, a year later, she got married and had another child. But we were always taught to be who we were and be proud of who we are and what I am. And coming from Bowling Green to Chicago, things started changing for me. And I don't like Chicago, never have, but growing up in Chicago was difficult, being a different person, gay person at that time. And I went to grammar school and high school here, and difficult time, just like I said, and we lived in a neighborhood that wasn't gay friendly at all. I think I was the only gay person in the whole neighborhood and the surrounding neighborhood. And it was difficult, but I adjusted to it. I fully transitioned after high school, and that was 1964. And that's when I wanted to become a full-fledged woman. And I was a young girl, and I started doing young girl things. I was wearing a little makeup, sundresses, and kept my hair braided, and I started liking myself. I started really liking myself because I wanted to go to my prom as a girl, but the school wouldn't allow it. So I had to go as a boy, and I took a girl to the prom. And she knew, she was a good friend of mine, she knew I was a girl too, but we had fun. And in high school, I had a lot of female friends that were accepting of me, and the guys, they weren't, you know, how men are, and they wasn't having it. But eventually, on the down low, they were. So it didn't bother me. And when I finished high school and I went away to college, my first year at Southern, I started really getting rid of my boy clothes and started dressing like a female. Then I started going to the doctor, getting hormone shots through some older girlfriends of mine that were, you know, they dressed as women every day of their lives. And I ran with them, and they taught me a lot of stuff. And they were good, nice people, nice to me, and I loved the way they carried themselves because they weren't vicious or deceitful. And like back in the day, they we had some upbringing, you could say. We had mannerisms and charm about ourselves. And I turned out to be a charming young lady, and I love that. And today, as today's youth, they have a better advantage than we did. We didn't have the Center on Halsted, or we didn't even know where to get hormones until you ran across a girl that knew where to go, and that was the black market hormones that we would go get. And the doctor, I believe it was Dr. Ain, and he was giving the girls the shots. And that's all we knew. We didn't know about silicone or implants. We didn't know none of that. You know, we were naturally beautiful, you know. We really were, you know, natural. Lots of girls today, they have so much plastic and water injections in the bodies, and I don't think that's a good thing, but they're doing it, and they're beautiful, I have to admit that. But we didn't go through that. And yes, I did. It was a lot of discrimination during the time I was coming up. I lived on the South Side, and the South Side, they weren't gay-friendly at all. So we caught hell on the South Side of Chicago, probably on the East and the West Side, I don't know, but the South Side, it was horrific. They were killing us up like flies, you know, like roaches, stepping on us and everything. And I had quite a few friends that lost their lives for being gay, for being who they wanted to be. And it was like a Salem witch hunt in Chicago. We were witches and they were killing us. And it was some scary times, but you had to just keep the faith and pray and hope that you had some friends and family that would stick by you. And I was fortunate enough to have that. You know, my parents, my grandparents, my sisters and brothers, and we loved each other, and we were taught that. But outside neighbors or the neighborhood, they didn't do it, you know. So okay, yes, I moved to the North Side some years ago, and the North Side was Boys Town, gay friendly, but they had outsiders that would come in Boys Town and beat up the girls, chase them, or whatever, but it still wasn't that safe for us, but it's much safer now. And one particular day I was at the Center on Halsted, and I was sitting there because we were having senior lunch. You know, I'm a senior citizen now, and we were having senior lunch, and I saw a bunch of girls, young girls, or either young babies as we would call them, cutting up and, you know, shameful acts, which I was disgusted by. And so I walked over to them and told them, you all shouldn't do that. Don't carry on like that in a public place, because they have children, and these kids can see this too. And they said, okay, and one of them said, Mama. That's how I got the name Mama Gloria. They started calling me Mama Gloria. And I was teaching charm school there. The center went along with me, and the Tribune decided to come to the center and see who was this Mama Gloria and what was she all about. And they came, they did an article on me, and the article was in the Tribune. I believe it was in the Reader and the Sun-Times. And word got out about me, and people wanted to know me and find out who I was and what was I all about. So it was a particular man from the North Light Theater that read the article in the Tribune, and a producer, Mr. BJ, which I just love him and his family today to no end. And he took the article and he gave it to Phil Dawkins, which is a writer, and Phil Dawkins came in and asked could he come in and sit in my classes and see what I do. And I agreed for him to come in and sit. I talked about appearance, charming, how to be charming in public, and the public will accept us much better if they know we got manners, you know, because some of us didn't have manners. I taught them charming, how to sit at a table, how to engage in a good conversation without being filthy. And they were quick to sit in my class and learn these things, which I'm so happy that they just started doing it. And then I would throw little parties, dinner parties for them, for the homeless and transgender men and women. And it was a fun thing for us. You know, they finally got somebody that cared and loved them, and I do love them, you know, because I had that love when I was coming up. So this went on for about 6 months with Mr. Dawkins sitting in on the class. And he was writing, you know, and some of the group that didn't want to be their names put down, he wouldn't do it, no pictures or anything like that. You know, we had to ask if we could do this. A lot of them refused, and some of them didn't care. And this went on, and he learned more about us, and we were being introduced to other news articles and everything, and they came in and took pictures of my class, which I was proud of, and it was a good thing for me because I got a chance to let them know that I love them and show my love to them. And anything that went on in their lives that they couldn't cope with, they would bring it to me, and we sit down and talk about it and try to find a solution for it, which they did. Then all of a sudden one day I get a call from Phil Dawkins, and he had a manuscript, a play called Charm. And I'm saying, Charm, ooh, okay. I read the script and I was excited by it. And I told him, sure, do it. So they start going to rehearsal, getting actors and actresses, trans and non-trans, and all kind of people in. And it became a big thing, and I would go to rehearsals and I talk with the crew and everything. And then Steppenwolf took it on. And they had the opening night about 5 years ago at the Steppenwolf Theater called Charm. And Charm went over big in Chicago, and my name went over big in Chicago. So I'm happy about that. Then Charm was being represented in other states like Minnesota, Washington, California, and New York. And in New York, it went to an off-Broadway play, which turned out to be great. And the cast there was just phenomenal. I never saw so many gifted transgender people, and they really put it up on a higher level. So I'm happy about that, that they saw fit to play me and to put it out there, the work that I've done and still doing for the kids today. And I hope that it gets bigger. The trans people today, they've got some gifted trans people out here. They've gone on to college and gotten degrees, and they're doing good things. And for those that are not doing great things, I want them to know that, hey, you know, you can do it. If you put your mind and heart to the work that you want to do, you can do great things. Because, well, hey, I'm almost 80 years old and I'm still doing what I want to do, and I'm doing it with great expectations of myself, because the play has helped me a lot. And I went back to school to Second City, and I do stand-up comedy, which I'm going to further on with. And I hope to get into show business too. It's never too late, and believe that, it's never too late.